Hello, my name is Lisa, and I'm an aspiring author who doesn't know what she's doing, and today I'll be talking about mental health. I've been struggling with mental health these last 2 weeks, and I feel like my writing has taken a back seat. Because of that, I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about mental health and how it can impact us as writers and how I handle it. So I think after NaNoWriMo, I was feeling very energetic, and I thought I could write every single day for at least 10 minutes a day. I didn't put any pressure on my word count, just the time sitting down and actually writing. And if I'm being really honest with you, I've been really struggling with doing that. I think I write about every other day or every third day, which is still better than not writing at all. And I think that's why I wanted to talk about this. I think there's a fine balance between mental health and taking the time you need versus starting to use it as an excuse not to work on your project or your book. So lately, just the idea of writing has been making me feel a little overwhelmed, and overall I've just been a lot more down and low energy than I have been before. So when I feel like writing is just too much for me, I try to do alternative things that still has me working on my story without actually sitting down and writing. If I'm not able to put words to the page, that's okay. What I do instead is one of two things. I will either just daydream about my book. I might look at what the last scene was or what the last few scenes were, and then just daydream about what's going to happen next. How are they going to get out of whatever situation they're in? And anything else that might have to do with the story. Or sometimes I'll just research. So for instance, the current book I'm working on, the main character is a blacksmith. And I am not a blacksmith. I don't know really anything about blacksmithing. So I'll just research, how does one get into the blacksmithing profession? What is a blacksmith? What do they do? And I'll just do some research that pertains to the story, but might not be the actual story. If I'm thinking about these two alternatives and I still feel overwhelmed, and I feel like, I just can't get myself to do that today, that just might mean that I need a mental health day. I need to take the time and really focus on me. And I do that without guilt. I don't feel shame. I just let myself have the day. I think it's really important that if you do take a mental health day, you don't cloud it with negative emotions or negative self-talk or negative feelings. Because when we do say things like, oh, I should have written today, or I should have done that, instead of just allowing yourself to take the day, you're not going to be able to really decompress and actually do what you need for your mental health. Another thing that I do when I am struggling with my mental health or with writing is I'll talk it out with a friend, or more commonly my husband. Maybe I'm just not sure where the characters are going and it's nice for me to be able to talk it out loud. Or maybe I'm just having big emotions about writing and for some reason I just can't sit down and do it. And sometimes talking it out will help you see what's going on underneath. For instance, for me, I didn't want to write recently because I was burnt out on other things in my life and I just really needed to take the time. Another reason that recently I couldn't write is because I just was completely lost in my story and I had no clue what was going to happen next. And both of those were helped just by talking it out. I think the balance for me is I'm still working on my story even though I'm not actively writing words. If you're at the point where you're taking multiple days off or you're taking a week or so off and you haven't done any writing or any work on your book, I think it might be time to reevaluate your situation and figure out what's going on. So for instance, is putting pressure on working on your book actually hindering your ability to work on your mental health and feel better? Or is it something to do with the book? Is it maybe something that you need to take a break and walk away from and work on another project for a while? Or maybe there's something in the book that you find difficult to write and you're not sure how to address that subject matter? Or maybe it's something else entirely. After you make that evaluation, I think it's important that you honor whatever the need is. If you are struggling with mental health, there's no shame in taking a break and really focusing on getting better. Because at the end of the day, mental health is your overall health. And just because you're not writing every day or you're not hitting the goal that you set doesn't mean you're any less of a writer. Everybody struggles and sometimes you just need to take a break and that's okay. And when you do feel better, come back and keep going. Sometimes it's better to take a little bit longer with your project and really focus on what you need as a human being versus trying to push through a story. And at the end of the day, writing the first draft of your book, whether you just started, you're in the middle, you ended it, that's really cool. A lot of people dream about writing books and you're doing it. And that's something to be proud of. And just because you can't work on it today or you feel like you need a week to really get back to being yourself doesn't make it any less cool and any less actually. As an anecdote, for me, my issues usually stem from my mental health. And a lot of times when I do approach writing, it feels overwhelming and like an impossible task, even if I only focus on the 10 minutes that is my goal. For me, doing that daydreaming exercise where I just think about what might be happening next in the story sometimes is enough to get me to sit down and start writing, because I'll get excited about my ideas again. And sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. And I will keep daydreaming until the next day comes around and I feel better, or I don't, and then maybe I'll do some more research, or I'll keep daydreaming and keep thinking about what the next step in the story is. Or maybe I'll skip the next step altogether and go to a different part of the story that I'm excited to tell. And there's no shame in just putting a placeholder and say, add X scene here if you're really struggling and you feel like that's your deterrent. I use placeholders all the time. It's one of the main things that keeps me going when I try to edit my book as I draft. So I guess what I'm trying to say is mental health is really important, and you're a human being and you deserve to be taken care of. And sometimes that means pausing what we love to do and what we're interested in completing to make sure that we're okay, or looking at it from a different perspective. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a good one.